Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final game of the day, day 3 here at the Causeway Scrabble Challenge in Johor Bahru, Malaysia. My name is Jesse Matthews, alongside Chris May, to provide mostly expert analysis on all the games that board 1 in this tournament. We are seeing someone who has not yet been on board 1 of this tournament, but we know is an excellent player, and that just tells you how strong this field is. David Eldar making his debut on board 1 about halfway through the tournament. He's had a pretty solid run. Why don't we have a look at his game history? He's run pretty hot today. This is round number 29, Joel Sherman, just to answer your question. Yeah, it's been a pretty solid day for David Eldar. That scorecard is not correct because he just played Mark Nyman in round 28. It's showing Gotcha online.
I think there's a few technical hitches at the moment with the tournaments up there, and that's why they're not showing current standings after round 28. What we can tell you is that the board 2 pairing for round 29 is Nigel Richards against Irinde Saidu. So Mark Nyman has dropped off a little this afternoon. But these two guys, Jesse and David Eldar, are coming first and second. I think this is a straight King of the Hill pairing this round.
So David has only lost 2 games today. So yeah, today he is 7-2. Great run.
I think he's only lost 1 game today.
Oh wait, round 19. No, he lost to Mark Nyman last time.
Okay.
So yeah, his only losses today were to Mark Nyman both times. He's gone 7-2.
Cool. And that's after a breakfast of 4 cups of coffee plus a bowl of cereal.
Meanwhile, Jesse's had a pretty solid day as well. Let's see if I can pull up his record. I believe he might have done something similar. Let's have a look here. Yeah, he just lost in his last round, so he's also gone 7-2 today. Yeah, one of them was to David Eldar today, actually, on a board off of board 1. So Jesse will be looking for revenge, ideally, against David Eldar, waiting for the first couple of racks as they draw tiles.
David Eldar is a really exceptional player, as I think probably almost everyone watching the stream will be aware already. I think probably the finest player Australia has produced, possibly ever. Really creative player, a deep tactician over the board. Finds creative players, pretty unflappable under pressure, and generally all-round strong.
He's got a nice start of Odonate on his rack to go down. Meanwhile, over on Jesse's end is Nigel not currently in the lead with 19 points after round 28. Miktivo, he will be at 19 wins as well as Jesse, but yes, he has a higher spread. David lost last round, so he's not at 19. So Nigel and Jesse are at 19, and I don't remember what Irinde did.
Yeah, so maybe this isn't a straight King of the Hill. This must be a lagged pairing that we're watching now.
Yeah, it's probably lagged.
Sorry, we will. The tournament team know that we would like updated current standings, and we'll get them for you during round if we possibly can. But we're dependent on them.
So Jesse's going for float, and David Eldar is going to plop down Odonate, most likely.
Yep, no floaters there for him to use. So a 4-tile underlap looks likeliest to me.
Yeah, that's the one I would have favored, certainly. Jesse, meanwhile, has picked the blank, but with a couple of clunkier letters besides it, so he'll need about a turn here to balance that and get himself ready.
Dave can be a fan of perpendicular replies. That would involve floated, but in this case goes for the points. Well, I assume that's the highest scoring play.
And Jesse has Maven to score very well and keep the
that's nice. Or Baven.
Baven, yeah, that as well.
Baven's a bit better.
Yeah, keeping the M is better than B for sure, so yeah, Baven.
But he might spend a little time getting used to this rack, just in case there's a bingo in there. He is aware that he missed Catbriar last round. I think he said he didn't really know it. That was my position as well. But you know, when you're aware that you've just missed a bingo, you tend to not want to miss another one. So he may spend a little time here.
And David
Wow.
has picked very nicely.
Beautiful
He's
cut from
got
Dave.
things like Newsier and Ice Wine on his rack that'll score very nicely. Weenies, of course.
So Weenie-est available for the double-double. That'll probably get disturbed, of course. Be cool to know if there was anything through the LO, sort of thing that David would look for.
He's got M. Baven up there. He's probably debating the merits of both.
Baven's a solid no-fuss choice. I fully expect to see that.
No. He's typoing. There we go. Tackle operator struggling there for a second, but looks like we're okay now.
Might even be worth Dave taking a little bit of time to look for 7-tile underlaps here. Looks like it just might be possible.
Meanwhile, Jesse drawing all sorts of... Well, he can't have a blank. Oh wait, he can. He can.
That's total nonsense, isn't it? I've never seen a rack quite like that.
Yeah, that is terrible.
At least there's a blank in there. He's going to need it. He's going to go bingo down pretty shortly here.
And Reeves has been suggested through the B in Baven for David Eldar. Endwise fits underneath. Oh, look at that. And just on cue, there at Oculate says the same thing.
Takes a bit of finding. He may hit it, he may not. We'll certainly be looking though, because I think he's going to be a bit disappointed by his vertical options.
Swiying has also been indicated as a 6-tile underlap option.
Well, he should see one of the two, certainly.
And that just makes this work really, really
and
ugly very fast.
Okay, he should definitely find one of those. He has several options available.
Sinew, does
Actually,
that fit under for
he's
6?
sinewed.
I don't see it fitting under for a 6-tile one. It fits, it's one of many that fits under underlapping 3, but yeah, we're looking for one's underlap 6.
So I guess in Weaves is the default play if you are too impatient to sift through all the options and find the 6-tile underlap.
Yeah, and then the thing with Endwise, if he plays that, is Jesse can't just play something like MIG with the 2 Gs and the I and Baven, because then the board is hopelessly locked up and only several moves in. David's going to know that playing something like Endwise underlapping is going to really destroy this board, at least temporarily, very quickly. And there he goes with C-Wing.
Very nicely done.
Yeah, Jesse is in heaps of trouble already.
100% down. Lucky he's got that blank. I guess he could play MIG. Kind of hate it.
He could, but that just really, really destroys this board.
But then
Got the J at least for bench with a vowel. Which I think is probably strong enough to rule out changing, although high chance Dave goes there next turn. This is tricky.
Do you think he would though, if he's got the board so locked up?
He has to go somewhere.
Exactly, but where? Like it seems like after MIG there is literally no play you can make that doesn't open the board. So I guess it's a matter of where you'd want to. And if you're 100 ahead, why would you? Okay, he's got the Q along with other monkey letters on his end.
Yeah, Q, but otherwise quite promising. Well, I feel it's a bit like MIG or change here.
MIG may not actually be so bad now that I'm looking at the lack of options.
I'm okay with MIG here.
Gaju has been suggested burning the blank, and I would say no.
Fine if you're ahead, not so fine if you're behind. Look, I think MIG is fine here. You've got a threat, an active threat with the J, and as Jesse said, anything Dave does is likely to give away some kind of counterplay that will help you work through the D, G, J on the rack, which actually aren't consonants that go that poorly together. I think it's fine. I mean, relatively fine in that he's got a terrible rack and all of the moves kind of suck.
Yeah, because also if he does change and he even gets something decent, then Eldar could just easily lock that board to the board doing anything, and he has to break up his good rack anyway.
And then Jesse will be the one who has to make a cheap opening.
Yeah, so MIG, actually, yeah, I'm sold on it now.
Yeah, I agree.
We have got tournament organizer Michael Tang in the background, who just walked into the studio. He's been enjoying popping in and out watching the games. I'm going to actually hand over the headset to him for a little bit. I have a feeling he might have a thing or two to say. I'm going to give him the headset here. Michael, welcome to the studio.
Hi, welcome everybody. So I hope all of you guys around the world enjoying the live streaming. We have the honor of Chris May and Jesse Matthew with us, and maybe we could get some of the premier player coming in.
Well, I hope so. We've had some requests for David Eldar to come into the booth, and he hasn't obliged so far today. We did have him briefly yesterday. And I think we had Andrew Fisher earlier on today as well, which was cool.
Yeah, I think I should be able to get at least a couple to come in.
Yeah, well,
this game.
If you order them to, they'll come.
Oh, I will.
You're the boss.
Yeah, I will try to definitely make David Eldar. Tomorrow will be the target. David Eldar will be into.
So, we've seen. To just catch up with the game, we've seen a change 6 from Jesse Day, keeping only his blank. I do question that play. I think we sold ourselves on MIG there, and exactly what you said could happen has happened. He's taken the opportunity, David, to block off that stuff with his QI, blocking things like ponytail and waypoint that Jesse had drawn.
And non-party, as Joel Sherman has pointed out.
And so suddenly, really we could have seen it coming. Jesse has a bingo rack and nowhere to go. and doesn't have his J to play with bench, which
Very unfortunate, yeah.
yeah, which he could have very well got with an IO or U draw after League. So thank you very much to Michael Tang. We hope to see you again in the booth.
It's nice to have him dropping in, provide some occasional insight, and drop a bomb or two as to what he wants to do in the room. It's honestly been fantastic for us to be a part of this event. I've never been to a Causeway before. This is my first time being at any of them, and I get to have the pleasure of working in the booth, watching some of the very best players in the world deking it out in a straight-up King of the Hill, which is completely ruthless in the way that it pairs people against each other. And Chris, you said your first time here was 10 years ago,
10
correct?
years ago, yep.
And how many times have you played Causeway?
I only played it 4 times.
Okay.
Of course, it finished in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So from the first year that I came, I played it 4 of the 6 times that it took place. 3 times as a member of Team Australia, and then a 4th time as a member of an international team.
Oh.
When I was kind of caught between 2 states and wasn't eligible to play for either.
Well, I guess you couldn't really play for Estonia, but what was the other one?
The United Kingdom.
Okay, fair enough.
Where I'd been living, but not long enough to represent.
Right. So Jesse's played Toy. Something like Joy would have been more ideal for sure. If he had, but that's a lot of what ifs. Anyway, he's done what he needs to do, which is open the board up for options like a Bento. Unfortunately for him, Eldar does have that O and something else that can play underneath or dot or whatever. So I would expect. Actually, I don't know what to expect here, because they played something like Plod. He would open up something easier than just an O hook.
Yeah, and frankly, this I have to say, I think that exchange really ceded the initiative to Dave far too much, considering that Dave already had the massive scoreboard lead.
Yep.
And Jesse's really going to struggle to come back into this with the board the way it is. I think he needed to play through that very bizarre act that he had. But anyway, I better stop saying that. I've said it now and made the point. So let's get on with the rest of the game.
This is an ugly, ugly, ugly board. And Oliver, I was saying before, when with Plod, the problem with that is at the moment, Bent just, it does not take an S, I'm pretty sure.
Bent.
Oh, it does. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say Bento and Benti would have been a little bit more difficult than just hooking the P out there, but since it does take an S, then yeah, maybe Plod is not so bad.
Plod is fine, I think.
Yeah, I was going on the assumption that Bent did take an S. That is my mistake. So, Plod is certainly fine.
Are there any good plays with Toyo? Does anyone? There probably aren't. It's probably the wrong positional choice anyway. I'd love to see something with Flotel.
Yeah, Flotel would be nice. In a situation where Eldar was, if he was behind, Pylaw would be good to open up another 7 lane, but he doesn't need to do that because he is ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason he won't like Plod is because of the possibility of a 7 at 13C. But I think he probably has to leave something on here. He can't quite defend against high-scoring bingos all over the bottom of the board. I think he's eventually concluded the same thing.
So there goes Plod.
And poor old Jesse Day, I don't think, has a bingo.
He does not have any 7s.
So this is all kinds of pain for Jesse Day. Getting hit with a double bingo straight up. and having to make his way through a really weird rack where your sort of normal heuristics are way off because you've never seen a rack quite like it. That JMMGD thing that he got.
So ugly.
A real curveball.
I think in terms of like the textbook thing to do would be to exchange, but in that particular board position, I just wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, the 100-point deficit and the fact that Benj was there.
Mm-hmm. Very unique position. Yeah, because without context of board, it's perfectly reasonable to do an exchange. Just in that situation, we don't feel called for it.
But he has to soldier on. 125-point deficit, that's been made up many times before.
Yeah, that is the nice thing about Collins, is it's very easy to come back if you have a couple of things go your way.
It's not gonna be straightforward here because the board is so ghastly for the trailing player.
And that is by David Eldar's design. C-wing and such just really limited the development of the board in the immediate sense.
Jesse really, I think, has to make a fork here, and he may have to make something extremely open like ape at 7B.
Yeah, ape certainly over Ain, because the Z, of course, is the worst case tile there, and at least with ape you have to have the O or the U. Ain allows pretty much any vowel conceivable for a lethal play with the Z should his opponent have it. Katipo suggests AE and EF as a potential fork option, but that's a little bit too easy to block because you can just play 3 tiles from 6 Bravo to completely shut that down.
If you're going to make a setup, you might as well set up the triple file.
Yep.
Normally I'd say, well, yeah, it gives Dave too much cheap counterplay, but this is kind of desperate already. The board is so bad that even though we're still quite early in the game.
He's going for apnea, it looks like, based on that starting with an A.
Yeah, so he didn't feel it was quite desperate enough to warrant the wild opening that I'd proposed with A, but I can't really argue with this play. It's a little risky that if he picks up a fistful of vowels, he may have to play for another cheap score next turn. But as a trailing player in this kind of situation, he can't actually think negatively. He has to assume he's going to draw well.
Yep.
If he doesn't draw well, he won't win. So you sort of have to knock out those scenarios that you'd otherwise plan for.
And the thing with apnea working in its favor is with plot opening up a line in the bottom already, apnea, at least, although obscure, leaves N and A to play through as potential 8s. So it gives a few spots on the board to do something. Not easily able to shut everything down in one turn.
He's got the J back.
He has returned the J.
That's a pretty grimy draw for him. He's not going to like that.
And the trouble with that is one of his best plays is JEU and UP and EA, which blocks everything he's just set up. JAY leaves him a horrible leave if he were to put that anywhere. Yeah, this is another very difficult, awful decision. But meanwhile, we're going to go back over to David's side of the board, as he is the current one to play. I'm wondering about something like Brio alongside apnea.
I was just going to suggest that, yeah.
Yeah, I think Brio does the job perfectly well to destroy any 8s going through that, forcing 9s if anything were to be played there, and just leaving one late on the bottom.
I even wonder about Bree keeping the O back for Toyo. Not saying it's better, but it's worth thinking about.
Well, yeah, you got to start thinking extremely unorthodox to get back into this game, given the nature of the board. Yeah, and 2 O's left in the bag. Yeah, you would have. He has the J, so yeah, giving himself Or never mind, Jesse is the J. For David, that's not. I don't know. For David, I don't know if he'd be worried as much about it.
I'm just thinking it gives him possibilities to keep
Scoring,
outscoring. Yeah.
Looks like he's gone for Oi. Interesting.
Yeah, and this is I would expect a bit of board geometry from David, occupying that third row from the bottom and forcing Jesse to give counterplay on triple row if he does bingo. There's a little bit of risk involved in that.
It's also clever because he has the B for lib and plays just cash easily over from 14J.
Exactly. So as Nick comments, that is aggressive from David. Trying to force Jesse onto the second rank out to concede counterplay, as well as giving himself scoring insurance for the next turn if that is left untouched. That's a creative play from Dave, I like it.
I haven't seen what Jesse play, but the J is off the rack, so he's made a play with it. I'm assuming he did not change. J, okay, yeah. He's gone for maximal volatility.
Eesh.
Meanwhile, yeah, there's something like bilge and lib.
This is horrendous for Jesse, isn't it?
Nightmare the last couple of turns.
Yeah, absolute nightmare. He's played JAY, I guess, partly because he knows he can dump the E and U off it next turn if Dave doesn't go there. But this is all like fiddling around when he needs a bingo and then another bingo, and he just can't get one. Yeah, as Edward points out in the chat, that Burl play sets up the R back hook as well, which is kind of nice. Wonder how concerned Dave would be about the libs hook on row 15. Probably a little bit, just in case the bingo started with a heavy letter, hitting the double letter.
I think perhaps some of the reasoning for J as well is with the play of OI. Jesse is assuming that Eldar is, if not a bonus, he's got a pretty high scoring play at the bottom, so he's thought, well, I might as well give myself something up on the top to potentially score with next turn. Maybe some of his thought process there.
I think I would have played JEU, but it would have been a kind of self-hating play.
Yeah, I would have held my nose as I played it, I think, but I would have gone with JU as well. So Breyer he goes for, holding LG.
Interesting choice. Wonder if he overlooked or wasn't quite sure of Burl with the E.
It's possible. There also are 4 R's in the pool, unseen to him.
Right.
So he may have been afraid of drawing an R to the one he already had. And as we know, more than one R is rarely a good thing to have in your rack. Although GR is a nicer leave at face value than GL, I would say.
So Zulu on Dave's rack to knock out the top of the board if he chooses that option.
Yeah, Zulu and laying up, very nice play that he has potentially next turn. And I'm not seeing any scenario where Jesse's going to play in such a way that it gets blocked. So that's likely coming down from him. Jesse's going to want to try and get rid of EE in some fashion, or EU.
Kind of have to play it off the J, right?
Yeah. And Oliver cheekily says the Briar play has set up the cat extension. In our last game, our cat Briar came up, except with the AR at the end.
Tweet.
Oh, interesting.
I mean,
that leaves Zin and Zoe, unfortunately, for him.
Ouch. Yeah, it's quite a smart play. Actually, yeah, I didn't see that before he played it. I think it's quite good. It does leave a bingo line still at the top, so that's important. But ouch, ouch, ouch. Pain, horrendousness.
Yeah. So, good game. Lose is kind of set up on Eldar's rack right now.
Yay! Guess he's going to get his bingo.
He'll be a little bit too late. But yeah, Eldar's going to basically negate it with a 60-plus point play here. Jesse won't know it after the play of Zin and Zoe, but Eldar is sitting on complete junk. So there's really only long shot scenarios that Jesse can come back and win this in, but that would be to pull another bonus out of the bag.
So we wait to see which of his options Jesse will slap down on the 15 row. CGG, LUUU. Sort of rack you're only happy to see when you're 165.8. So if it's a double bingo for Jesse, which is really what he needs, then there could just be last traces of some play in this position.
I almost wonder, with all the options he has, if he has to do something like disease in the bottom to leave the eye underneath where an X play could help him get back in the game.
It's a clever idea.
I'd have such a hard time doing it, but in such a dire situation, I'd think about it.
Looks like he's playing demisers.
Yeah, I can't blame him. That is the more safe, the more standard of the plays.
Importantly,
it scores well.
And it leaves a good bingo line, which is crucial.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely better than the placement 2 squares left. So only 80 points down. I mean, it's a lot really. But if he bingos now, again, well, let's see. There might just be play left. Dave's going to have to either change or dump for low value here.
And Jesse's not drawn the second bingo that he would basically have needed to stay in this game, because even with junk, Eldar can sufficiently control this board. Even just playing something as simple as Clue or anything to that Ian demises to kill it. Although, yeah, he can just play Jug as well to score.
K is a nice tile for him.
Both players with sufficient time here. Just under 8 minutes for Jesse Day. 9 and some for David Eldar.
Not sure what Jesse's thinking here. Maybe playing whiff or something at d4. Yeah, there it is.
Whiff is a solid option, certainly.
Goes fairly well. But he's still within striking distance. Unfortunately, he's knocked out his own bingo line, but he has created another one in its place.
Now maybe we'll see something like Cuke from Eldar to the Ian demises to completely shut down that last
that'd be a
obvious
good
lane.
play, yeah.
Yeah, even with junk, he should be able to control this. And that basically just leaves plays through the WH and the I as Jesse's last-ditch effort here.
Or a 9 through IM.
True.
I like your idea of playing at G12. I might try and keep CK back on the lead if I did that though. Play something like Luge or Guel. Keep a synergy. Especially with an H that I work with as well up the top of the board now.
Fair enough, yeah.
Another option is just GU in the top corner. Did you say that already?
That I did not say yet, no, but that is certainly good. I think that's really, he's decided to go for it, I guess, playing Goo, continuing to score.
Yeah, so he's drawn to the CK synergy as well. I think your suggested positional play was very clever, and I'm not entirely sure Dave considered it. I think he might have been tempted by it if he'd seen it. It was a very strong option.
I have a hard time saying, that someone's outright wrong, because I don't think he is in this case, but I just think, I don't know, I think it's really just tempting fate when you have enough of a lead and you can just control the board so well.
No, that play absolutely immobilized Bingo's on a huge part of the board.
Because the other thing too is with Oddso being a hook, although obscure as well, words ending in OS are also taken out after you play something like Cuke or Luge or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I agree, but I understand why he played Goo, because it scores and is admittedly unafraid of anything Jesse has. Jesse's rack is starting to look a little more normal again, but still not quite so balanced here. Lots of A's in the pool as well.
And so, actually, this game now looks winnable for Jesse, to my surprise. I'd kind of written him off, but with two very good bingo lines on the board and the case S in hand, and Dave having kept a synergistic consonant pair that's actually not all that much use to him unless he's got a good play with C hook onto ham that I haven't noticed yet. Dave now sweating a bit on the defense here, I'd say. I think that G12 play could have made a big difference. He would have far less to think about here had he made it.
Well, it'd be it's straight up play with Chem and CK and something else to the left if he had already blocked on the bottom, keeping it CK after playing blue or something, but
Exactly.
And now not quite so easy.
I guess he could play Cull or similar, just across. But if Jesse's got a bingo on row 14, then make it to an endgame at the very least.
Well, the tough part for David is there's two E's unseen to him. Jesse's just made a play that suggests he has an A and possibly an E, while he of course doesn't. From David's point of view, it's very possible he has both an A and an E. So he's got to wonder what's the more probable of sevens that are going to come down, something with an A somewhere in the middle, or an E more likely at the end, or possibly an A. and I would be drawn to think that blocking the top. Well, how many? There's ED in the bag. ER. I would probably still block the bottom, as open as the top looks. But yeah, it's not an easy position anymore. He's got to block one, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy position. And the more I look at GU, the more I think it's a bit of a strategic lapse not to have kept control of the board and made sure it was developing in a way that was unfavourable to Bingo's. He kind of gave away the forking play, the board forking play there. I don't know, people in the chat, what did you think of Guel or Luge at G12 as a play instead of GU? More winning?
I agree with you that Blue or Luge is better than Cuke, like I had suggested on the bottom, but I'm still standing by playing on the bottom. I think just for the board itself, it's better. And Michael Plow, yeah, I guess XU is possible up on the top right, but that's still only 45 points compared to 60-something, 70-something more likely if you were to bonus on the bottom or the top.
So he's gone for a fairly conservative play there, Cork, just trying to knock out the top and not allow very much counterplay by bringing a K on H2. Bit of a horrendous leave, ULL, so if he doesn't draw tiles that go with that, he's going to find it hard to keep defending, because Jesse may well try and open up another line around the top of the board somewhere.
He's drawn DE to that ULL.
Nice. So far so good. Okay.
And the V, which is a nice blocking tile.
Yeah. About as good as he could have hoped for, I think. So, what can Jesse do to keep himself in this by forcing Dave to defend in two fronts?
I think playing Naur actually through WE at 4A is a likely candidate choice for him here. Go with the triple. That's what I'm doing in this position 100% of the time. He can draw an A easily.
I like the look of Naur. Tell us in the chat if you find a better option. Not actually the easiest of spots. Jesse Matthews knocked it over straight away, but under time pressure, in a really sort of game that would have thrown Jesse about a bit, he would have felt like he wasn't making the best play in some of these plays earlier in the game.
Yeah,
and that's never pleasant. Kind of thing that can go by without being spotted. And indeed, he's done something different. Setting up his A.
Ageism, yeah.
Keeping the double R, but setting up the A. And amazingly, Dave doesn't have one, despite there still being four or five unplayed in the game. Mm-hmm. So that's going to cause Dave another headache, but bad pick up for Jesse by the looks of it. And the disadvantage of the A&R lead was exactly something like that in the pickup, which leaves you with not very much.
Yeah.
But Dave's got a headache, only 52 ahead. The opening at the top is incredibly hard to block, and he's going to be pretty worried about it. Plenty of possible bingos on things like anti-car. He's played already.
Oh.
Yeah.
plowing through letters to get as close to the end game as possible.
Quite right. And the if the top's too hard, you just got the bottom.
So now Jesse has 2 tiles that he can possibly get rid of here. He can probably just like AA in some form. Man, this is too bad.
I wonder if there's a path to victory for him with a 2-tile play here. You'll probably have to involve IN over in the right. That's a real shot. Davis pulled the A's. He needs to neutralise that hook. Should it still be hanging after Jesse's play?
Something's wrong. There weren't 5 A's, I'm pretty sure. I thought there was only 4.
I think there might have been 5. I only count 4 on the board.
Aka, there you go.
I think it's okay. So, yeah, I mean, Jesse keeps within 50, and he's hoping to pull something somewhere. He may well not have a specific plan with that move, but I think it's going to be all too easy for Dave to sort this one out, given that he has the tiles for ages, and he's going to have a quick look over at the O column to make sure there are no 9s.
Something like, I'm looking, I think David actually does the trick, even though the I is put next to the triple word score, because it just allows 6s at the very most. He's going to see that no X play is going to be lethal on Jesse's part, since he has the last I in his rack already. David does the trick. It does the forking in the sense that it leaves 6s in either direction, but no 7s, and that'll be enough to preserve the win for him.
I think pretty much anything that occupies enough territory on the B column is going to do the job here. That's assuming that there are no 9s available. And that looks like a pretty safe assumption given the pool.
And given Jesse's rack.
And RRRX. Nearly the other tiles an R, yeah. So
basically a V at 7 Bravo does the trick for whatever David plays in terms of completely 100% blocking 7 possibilities, either up or down.
Are there even any 7s?
I haven't seen him know that's true, so. But he's low on time, so if he's thinking of just blocking, then that would be the priority.
Yeah. It's the psychologically secure play to make. Oh, maybe he's playing spread.
And he's taking all the time he can. He's at 40 seconds now, David Eldar, while Jesse is just over 2 minutes.
Maybe he's a bit worried about being beaten with an out in 2 involving X on C13.
True.
I'm not quite sure why he would be super worried about that.
He's finally made a play because he doesn't have much time.
But if he was thinking about blocking the X spot because there were no 7s on, then that would have been a bit of a calculation. Something like Vina, which I think he had on his rack. So that's a very solid play. He's satisfied himself that ageism hook is harmless in terms of losing the game, and he's of course correct. So neutralising the X was a good play to optimise the spread. A very professional move there from David Eldar.
Where's the second H on the board? I see a whiff. Where's the second one? Oh, there it is. Never mind, Kemp's. So I was thinking Jesse's rack was close to Zerark.
That would be pretty cool.
I couldn't see the other one because they were right next to each other.
Obviously.
Yeah. So yeah, that seals the deal for David Eldar, who hasn't really been on board one, but in his debut, he's going to win this game on board one, and depending on circumstance, may be in first place to end the day.
He may be.
Ying, yes, this is the last game of the day. This is round 19, 10 games played today, and tomorrow there will be 10 more starting at 8:30 a.m. local time here in Johor Bahru.
So this was quite an interesting game. We haven't seen a game quite like it so far in the tournament. A slowly developing board with that central block of tiles really dominating the development.
Yeah.
And well, I thought Dave played some imaginative moves in the middle game, especially OI.
Yeah.
And just the one strategic slip up in my book anyway, with GU in the top corner, which then created headaches for himself with the forked board that Jesse produced in his attempt to catch up.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I thought extremely well played by David.
Very good game for him, yeah.
And Jesse had some horrific draws.
Yeah.
Some terrible luck. Again, I thought one move that I identified as a likely error, which was his failure to play MIGG,
yeah.
and his decision to change instead, which really just gave away a bit too much board control at a crucial time to Dave. And even so, Jesse was able to play himself back into the game, and can count himself a bit unlucky to walk away the loser here.
Yeah, I think it might be a stylistic thing too, but I mean, I like Nar because I saw it, but I think it gives him more opportunities to win.
Yeah. I guess we'd have to run the maths to be sure, but I like that play a lot as well.
But small things, I think certainly a little more solid on David's side of the board, comparing the moves in the game, but Jesse, as you mentioned, with some very difficult racks to
Jesse had a ton
handle.
of tough moves, right?
Yeah.
Where it was very hard to say what was best.
Yeah.
And they're extremely draining games when move after move after move, there's just no clear choice. Thought Jesse played fine actually, pretty much from start to finish.
Yeah.
Just a really tough game on both sides.
So it looks like 453 plus some change for David Eldar, 381 for Jesse Day. So David Eldar wins that one, moving very probably into first place unless Nigel had a blowout in his favor, which is always possible. But
yeah, Nigel or Saidu should be in first place.
I see. Yeah.
After this game, depending on the results. Saidu possibly moving into first place.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
Without it being on board one,
Must
yeah.
have had a wonderful day. Yeah, I mean,
he hasn't lost yet.
He's he won a game. He lost a game early this
see.
morning, but may well have finished with 8 straight wins if he beat Nigel. So we'll. I don't think we're going to wait around to see though, because I don't know about you, Jesse, but I'm totally exhausted after that.
Yeah.
So we're going to sign off.
Alrighty, so we're back here tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. local time. That is in 13 and a half hours from now. We're not going to tell you local times for where you're all at, but for now, yeah, in 13 and a half hours, we'll see you again. Goodbye from Johor Bahru until tomorrow morning.